Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Today, again, I'm coming back to the spectrum of a person and talking about the various archetypes along its length. And today, we did the ideal the other day, and so moving on past that, we've got the bad, be it the bad boy or the bad girl. You know, those terms in and of themselves bring up kind of images of James Dean maybe in your head and individuals like that. I'm talking about the original James Dean from like the movies with his motorcycles and his leather jackets. I'm not talking about the porn star that had all those scandals not so long ago. But ultimately, what it comes down to with these guys is that they tend to be something of a counterbalance to the good guy or the good girl that we were talking about before, whereby where the good guy or good girl tend to be more kind of quiet and reserved and keeping themselves to themselves in terms of vulnerabilities and things, and only choosing occasionally to divulge when they choose to other people, when they allow others to see them as being vulnerable. The bad boy or bad girl is very much more of a case of they tend to be private, again, keeping themselves to themselves, allowing that confidence over their situation to allow it to be self-contained. But very much more, they tend to sometimes go beyond that to being more secretive and keeping themselves completely shut down and like not doing the kiss and tell thing, as per certain perceptions and stereotypes may suggest. But that confidence that they have will usually come across much more as a kind of cheeky or cocky way, and as a result, you know, they're out to these individuals tend to be much more out to have fun. They like to keep their options open without burning bridges, you know, without having a good reason, and this all helps them because they're looking more to enjoy kind of variety or exploration than not. I mean, you know, with the good guy, you've got much more in a way of kind of enjoying their independence and being able just to be open and enjoy the discussion and being arguably maybe more formal in the way that they're enjoying their interactions, whilst the bad boy or bad girl, they're keeping much more in the way of having that variety and that exploration and that new experience and celebrating things as they go. And the thing that comes with that, though, is that they tend to have a very obvious agenda. You know, one of the stereotypes that you have fairly often would be the you know, if they're going to want sex, then they're going to say in one fairly uncertain terms that is what they are looking for. If they want to go and get drunk, they are probably in no uncertain terms going to have that as a suggestion of what they are going to do. And as a result, it's going to be a fairly straightforward thing to dealing with these people, because where the good guy is just straightforward and will lay it out for you in a rational way, these guys will just go, I want this, and then they will try and go for it. You know, they're very much a counterbalance, and with limited differences overall, the main differences being the highly empathic and considerate side of the good guy is instead flipped around and maybe turned more into a kind of assertive, fun hunting environment for the bad guy or the bad girl. And this, unfortunately, is again one of these areas that is often taken by the nice guy with the cognitive, like looking and exploring for things that they can imitate, but they don't necessarily fully understand. And which leads on to the next two types that we'll talk about in the next two videos, or the next two areas that we'll talk about in the next two videos. And the reason why it tends to be this and the good guy that are touched on more by those nice guy and nice girl individuals who will touch in on these and try and imitate them poorly, is because if they go for the ideal, if they go for that balance, then they have to do an awful lot of soul searching and self-analysis, which usually highlights things that they have actively tried to avoid looking at in themselves anyway, whilst trying to just imitate some of the behaviours, like taking the considerate nature of the good guy and turning that into over-giving, taking the variety and exploration, and the kind of cocky, cheeky confidence of the bad boy, and turning that either into being very hurried and promiscuous in certain relationships in a negative way, or going on and actively just being an outspoken arsehole instead of just being a bit cheeky and tongue-in-cheek and stuff as you go along. And so, though, with this particular type, they tend to be, as I said, fun-loving, keeping their options open, probably not wanting to be tied down, and they tend to keep it to themselves. They're private. They're enjoying their life, and it's their thing to keep safe. That all of those experiences, that variety, that exploration, all those things that they've seen and done. They don't need validation from other people. They've got that thing in their little treasure chest in their head. No one else needs to touch it. That's their special thing. That all of those things that they have got from those obvious agendas, from keeping their options open, from being that confident, fun-loving individual that people have gravitated towards, that all adds to their pile of gold in their mind. And that's all they need. And that's why at times they may very well withdraw from being just private and not, divulging much, to then being secretive. Because what it comes down to is they've got all of those things, those really cool, important things that have stuck out to them, that they have accumulated, that they have explored for and found and worked out. All those things that they have put themselves out for, that they've found and accumulated. And they don't really want other people to touch on those. Because, they become special to them. They're part of their experience. That's what it is. But anyway, tell me what you guys think, especially in regards to, again, these behaviours being picked up by other people, misinterpreted, not seeing where they're coming from and so on, and being moved forward. Both of the next two parts are people, maybe more on the nice guys end of the spectrum, taking these behaviours in particular and making something of a pig's ear of them. But anyway, please let me know. As said, sharing your experiences both allows me to see what you guys want talking about, and maybe give me some ideas for things that I can further address in the future. But it also allows other people to learn from your experiences about themselves and about maybe how they can move from one of these places on the spectrum to another, and just to be more be more comfortable and be more appreciative and happy with what they're doing. But yes, otherwise, if you found this at all interesting and so on and so forth, please drop me a like, and otherwise subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys.